Everyone, hope you're doing well and welcome to the Hammers Chat coverage of the Europa Conference League draw live. It's just the stream is just getting underway. I imagine there'll be a little bit of admin for them to do before they get into the actual draw. And it sounds like there's going to be quite a long draw as well. There's a lot of different groups and stuff going on, so it's quite complicated, but we'll talk you through it. While I do that, I'll be joined by somebody in just a minute. He's puffing away and getting prepared for the show. Let's bring him in now. How you doing, Tom?
You bastard. I'll probably need to turn this down because he's talking at the same time as me and I'm going to sound like I'm punch drunk in a second. There we go. Yes, I'm not bad. It's crazy. It's come around this quickly. I can't lie. So I just had somebody hit my smoke alarm, and now I'm ready to go.
Are you looking forward to the draw?
I mean, yeah. There's some decent teams. I can't lie, but it's you can go anywhere. I think in this competition, that's the only problem. And as we've seen when it comes to knockout games in the last few years, getting to the group stage is actually a bit of a problem. So. Yeah, fingers crossed we can get past it. But if we can, it can hopefully lead to some decent ties. But I think the real test is obviously when you get past into the knockout stages. That's when the real tournament begins, it seems. Because other than that, you're literally off to the end of nowhere in different countries and stuff. So as long as we don't do what Spurs did last year, it'll probably be a good competition.
Yes. Right, Bobby, when do we find out? Soon. They're just getting it underway on the UEFA website at the minute. Like I said, they'll do their admin side of things, talking people through how the draw actually works before they'll crack on with it. We're going to show you the teams that West Ham can actually get in the playoff draw. So this is the last round of qualifiers, essentially. Should we win this tie, we're then into the group stages. West Ham are in Group 4. We're one of the seeded teams. We'll be drawn against one of the unseeded teams, which are at the bottom of your screen at the minute. Yes.
I'm going to reset my internet because apparently I'm blurry. So give me 2 seconds.
Yes, thank you. Tom will be back in a minute. While he does that, I'm going to attempt to read out the team names. Some of them we've heard of, haven't we? But some of them we haven't. So West Ham United will get drawn against one of these. So there we go. We've got Estonians. Limassol, how do you pronounce that? I don't know. They've got to play Anderlecht. We've got Austrians Wolfsberger. They've got to play. They've got to play Gerza United. Riga plays Vicente from Portugal. We've got the Swedish AIK coming up against the Macedonian Shedika. And then we've got Viborg, the Danish side, up against the Faroe Islands, Torshavn as well. So we'll wait and see who West Ham United get, but we will be drawn against one of those that are on your screen right now. Unsure about YouTube, Marcus, but it's on the UEFA website. It's free for everybody to watch, so you can go have a look. Just go to UEFA.com. And it's on there as well. Now, while you're all here, this video is sponsored by the One Football app. It's the best place to keep up to date with all your latest West Ham news, apart from the Hammers Chat channel, of course. But there's loads of transfer rumours going on at the minute. As Masuaku is very close to securing his move to Besiktas on loan. West Ham have been linked to Maxwell Cornet very, very recently in the last couple of hours. That's all on the One Football app. Best place to keep up to date with your team news ahead of the new season. Premier League kicking off on Friday night as Crystal Palace take on Arsenal. So make sure you're up to date with all the injury news while completing your FPL teams. And the best way to do that, One Football app. Get it downloaded via the link in the description below. And best of all, it is completely free. You're back.
Let's try again. Is it
yes.
As blurry?
It's better.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, have you got some source of the draw at your end, Tom?
Just below me on my phone, and I've got it on my ear.
Yeah, that's okay. I've got it in my ear as well.
Okay.
So let me just...
to be fair, it's a different bloke. It's Tom Barlow. I don't know who he is. I'm used to the French. Hello and welcome to the draw for the Europa Conference League. It's a different guy. Is that a bad omen? Yeah. I don't know.
Is there anyone you're wanting to get, or is anyone you're wanting to avoid, Tom? I know there's one or two people, like Harry, saying that they want to avoid Anderlecht. If I'm honest with you, I'm not that arsed about Anderlecht.
To be honest, I think I've thought about this because if we get another Astra Jeju or Gugu, and we get knocked out by them, we've already found it difficult against them, but would I rather a decent test to be able to get that? If my internet is crap, I'm sorry.
It's all right. We can hear you. Okay. That's the main thing.
Yeah, you don't need to see me. So we've already had the crappy one and we've been knocked out by them. So I don't know. I'd quite like a sort of a test, but then is that harder to get into than the competition? I don't know, because as I said, we've been knocked out by lesser teams trying to get into the group stage before. So Anderlecht aren't the same side, I wouldn't think. Obviously now they've lost sort of a couple of their better players and their manager as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I really don't mind who we draw, because I think out of all of the teams that are there, we should realistically be beating every single one of them, I think.
Yeah. See, I was just going to say that. See, the thing with Anderlecht is, right, also Vincent Kompany's just left for Burnley. Josh Culling, one of their best players, has just left for Burnley. So that's championship teams. And with the greatest respect to them, that's the level their players are moving for. You look at a couple of the players that are involved in at these clubs. You've got the former Southampton centre-back, is it Hoyt? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Wesley Hoyt.
That's the one. You see, he's knowledgeable. That's why we've got Tom on. Then the Swedish side, Tom, you've got the former Manchester City striker, John, is it Guidetti? Is that how you pronounce his name? That was on loan at Celtic and Stoke. And they've also got Sebastian. They've got Sebastian Larsson. You know, I mean, I thought the guy was retired by now, but he's still plying his trade for that Swedish club.
Yeah, free kick maestro, yeah.
The one thing I would always argue that if you get Anderlecht or the Swedish side, it's easier for our scouting department to do the scouting on those teams. They probably don't have to go anywhere. Yeah. But if we get drawn against one of the lesser sides that we're not too familiar with, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Not that you'd expect us to need finer details on these sides, but we should be good enough to beat any of the teams on your screen. But of course, Tom, Declan Rice is suspended for both ties. Does that sort of make you a little bit more nervous?
Yeah. I completely forgot about that. I only remembered
Cresswell and Moyes suspended for the first leg as well.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that. I kind of put the semi-final to the back of my mind. Yes, I don't think necessarily with Cresswell it's an issue, nor with Moyes, because I think the backroom staff are more than capable. I think they've shown themselves to be quite adept at actually controlling a game when he's not there, when he had COVID. But obviously Rice is a massive miss. The thing is, again, with Souček in there, he looked somewhat decent-ish in pre-season. Maybe you add, Flynn Downs in there, and we've got enough talent to be beating them. Obviously, we'd like to have Rice there over two legs because he can obviously control and dictate the game. But I don't think there's going to be a scenario where in the first leg, we will get blitzed and then have to sort of score 3 or 4 goals in the second leg. So I'm not overly bothered, but obviously, yes, it would be nice for him to start the game. But again, we've got so much talent at the moment. We should, in theory, be okay.
Yes, David Moyes is banned for one match because he kicked the ball at the ball person in the second in the semi-final. So he's got one game ban. Cresswell's got 1 game ban for his red card. Yes. Declan Rice has got 2 game ban for accusing the referee of taking a bung for the match. Essentially, pretty much that's what Declan Rice goes to. Asking the referee's been paid while somebody recorded it on their phone, which is always helpful. The draw is underway at the minute, but it doesn't involve West Ham. It's not our part of it. It's split up into sort of a match group, the main path, and then they get split up into other groups as well. So we're a little bit later on. So the draw is currently underway at the minute. In regards to the missing Declan Rice, I think it provides a good opportunity for Flynn Downs, actually. I'd assume he's the one that would get to play. In a weird way, I wouldn't want to see Souček and Manzini playing centre midfield together, which is what I'd expect Moyes to do at this point. But, let's use the game time available to bed Flynn Downs in to some extent, because he's not going to play against Manchester City. He's probably not going to play against Nottingham Forest. So when the Conference League games do come around, I think it gives a good opportunity for the manager to rotate slightly, but at the same time, take it quite serious. In regards to the competition as a whole, Tom, I expect you're wanting to go on and win it.
Yeah, I was looking at the teams last night again. I know, obviously, it becomes a little bit sort of more difficult when some of the Europa League teams drop down into it. Again, we're talking if we actually get through. I know we're assuming at this point that we will, based on some of the teams that are in there. But you could see how much it meant to Roma last year when they won it, and they've not won a European trophy for God knows how long, if at all. I can't remember the last time they did. So, it's a massive chance for us to actually compete and go out there and win some silverware. I still think we could have done it last year with the squad that we had. We just ran into a very well-oiled Frankfurt machine that I don't think we were necessarily... I don't know, we were a bit burnt out last year, but hopefully with a bit more sort of squad size and an actual striker behind us this year, then, it's something that we should be looking to win, hopefully. But I think we've got enough of us. Well, if we make 3 to 4 more signings, we'll have enough sort of squad depth where we can start to move about pieces and prioritize, not have to prioritize one competition over the other. We can sort of say, right, this week we have a game on Sunday, but then we've got a very important game on the Thursday, and we can rotate and that sort of stuff. So I think there's more chance of us this year winning it than potentially, obviously, last year against Frankfurt. So
yeah, I completely agree.
I know it's seen as a bit of a Mickey Mouse competition, but at the end of the day, European silverware is European silverware, so we'll take it.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, I think it's a more prestigious tournament than the League Cup, essentially. Nobody would ever turn their nose up at the League Cup to some extent, but the reward for that is this competition, the Europa Conference League, and the reward for winning this Europa Conference League competition is, of course, the Europa League. I would argue, because as it stands, I know the likely winners of the FA Cup will finish in the Champions League places and whatnot, but as it stands, only 5th place in the Premier League gets Europa League and 6th gets nothing. I would argue that it's possibly easier for West Ham to qualify for European football next season by winning this tournament than it is via merit on the Premier League table again, because we would need to finish minimum 6 and hope that the winners of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup both qualifying for some form of European football, which is a decent ask. And the Premier League's getting tougher. You look at Newcastle United as well, that you'd expect to be up there competing with us a little bit. I was going to say Leicester, but they're all over the gaff at the minute. Villa, so there's a few teams you can make a case for closing the gap between us and them. I mean, Brighton only just finished behind us last season, so it's the Premier League's getting tougher. I just think this competition might be our easiest route into the Europa League next season, Tom.
Yeah, I think I agree. Sort of looking on paper, just all the teams are getting stronger. Arsenal necessarily aren't going to be as easy maybe to catch. Tottenham, I think, have done incredible business. It pains me to say I think they're going to push the likes of City and Liverpool probably until the final. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they'll get as close as they probably have done since the Leicester title winning season to winning the title under Conte, I think. So, yeah, everybody else is getting better around us. Obviously, the league has probably more pulling power than anywhere else. And Newcastle haven't exactly sort of shown their hand yet in spending lots of money. So, anything can happen, especially if they manage to somehow get Maddison. And so, yeah, this may be the easiest route for us to sort of get back. I say easiest, but obviously we know it's never guaranteed. Anything can change between now and the end of the season. But I think it's potentially our best opportunity. Again, I think it all relies on sort of squad depth, etc., going forward as to where we can sort of prioritise and put different people in different places. But I think the Premier League as a whole is going to be a lot tougher this year than it was last year. And
while the draw's starting to warm up a little bit, we're getting closer to the West Ham part of it. Tom, there's a lot of transfer talk at the minute. Obviously, Masuaku pretty much joined Besiktas on loan, being linked to Maxwell Cornet. What are you hoping to see done in regards to transfer activity from West Ham between now and I guess the end of the window as well?
I still desperately think we need a left back. I think that's the priority position. It'd be nice to have a left-sided player in Kostic, but obviously I don't exactly think we're not lacking there for players that can play in that position. Defensive midfielder again, Anana potentially one for the future if Declan ends up leaving, but I don't see it as the priority. I think left back was the massive priority position. So if you can get Cornet, I guess, somebody that can play in both those positions. I know, again, it twigged my memory last night. Hassan Kamara, again, at Watford, I still think could probably play that and wouldn't be as expensive. But I still think 2 or 3 more bodies, maybe another sort of maybe younger centre-half. I don't know. It's difficult because every time we end up replacing positions, somewhere else gets injured at the moment. So but I think for me, left-back is probably the main one. And it just... even a Brereton Diaz or something, just a couple of extra bodies. It doesn't necessarily matter if they're the most expensive signing, but as long as they're sort of good enough, I think it will help us obviously in the long run. But yeah, left back, I think after this pre-season and the back end of last year, that has to be the number one priority because I just don't think that Cresswell can exactly cut it for too much longer. I can't lie.
If you had to choose between Dennis and Sarr, which one would you prefer?
Can I say neither?
You can if you wish.
Yeah, I'd rather Brereton Diaz, if I'm honest. For me, he's 23 years of age. He scored a bag full of goals. He's an international. The other two, for me, Sarr's been spoken about so much over the last sort of 3 or 4 years or 5 years, even since he's been at Watford. And it's not like he's ever sort of gone to the next level. And realistically, they've been in the Championship now, twice? If somebody was that interested in him, why has he not gone yet? At least with sort of Richarlison, when he was there, people wanted to take him straight away. And with Dennis, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, yes, he did well last year, but I don't know if that was just a one-season wonder kind of thing. May not be. It's just when he was, I think it was at Bruges or Cologne or before, he struggled a lot, but seemed to do well last year. So it kind of ripped up that theory for me. But yeah, I'd rather Brereton Diaz. I still think at 23, the international, and just looks hungry for, and wouldn't necessarily want as high wages, I don't think, as the likes of Dennis or Sarr. I think that one for me would make more sense.
I wasn't keen on him when we were linked to Diaz about a year ago. I wasn't keen on him, but now we've signed Scamacca, I'm sort of okay with it now because I know that it's not the main signing for the striker role. Right, let's turn to live chat and grab some of your comments, see what you are saying. Ryan's asking where you watch the draw on the UEFA website. We'll talk you through it on here as it comes out, but they're dealing with the other groups at the minute. West Ham are in Group 4. We're in the final group of balls. I think they're on Group 3 at the minute. Tom could correct me on that, though. So they're not quite at our bit yet. Are you not paying attention either? I just keep picking it up, and I just seen Slavia Prague and Panathinaikos. I thought, oh, well, that's not us. I'll just put that back down. George is saying any European trophy for West Ham is brilliant. Can't knock any trophy considering how long it's been since we've won anything. While Sydney's saying, hungry for goal, you're not food. This lot will never go hungry. All right, leave it out. Gary's asking what competition you go in if you win the League Cup, Tom?
I don't. Has it changed? I don't know. I don't know.
It's this one.
It is this one. All right. Okay. Fair enough. I didn't know. Because it always used to be the Europa League, but I guess now it makes more sense.
As it's at the start of the season, 5th place in the Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup winners, Europa League, League Cup winners, Europa Conference League, and then obviously if the winners of the League Cup are in the top 4, it goes into the league, so on and so forth. It can be a bit complicated, but that is what happens. So at the minute, 5th is European football, and that's it. And Gary's just saying a bit like what Tom was saying about Roma. I was saying, look how proud and excited Mourinho was when Roma won it. He didn't take it as a Mickey Mouse trophy. While Joss wants Angelino for the left back position, would be a good signing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the other year he was top scorer, I think, for them in their Champions League run when they got to the semis. Very attacking fullback, but I don't know about, defensively maybe a little bit suspect. There has to be a reason maybe why Pep didn't want him at the time at City, because obviously he had a decent loan spell out in the Eredivisie, I think. So they've just signed Raum, obviously, which looked like it would be our number one choice. So if you can try your hand at it, I think at this point I'm kind of like anything is better than Cresswell, especially if he's got some pace. But I just wouldn't want him to be another Masuaku that we forked out a lot of money on. So if it's something like maybe a loan that we could do for it, I wouldn't necessarily be against it, I don't think.
Hardy said, it seems we want someone that can play left back and somewhere else. Grimaldo, Sosa, etc. are left back, left wing back. Diallo can play centre back as well. Suggests a lot of changes of system in the plan, maybe. Kyriakos is agreeing with you, Tom, about bodies. Often Moyes doesn't trust his bench enough, not enough rotation. Major is talking about the competition we're here for, which is when do the teams play each other. It comes to conclusion on the 11th, I think. I think they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I think there's games this week, tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, and I think that's the first leg. Then next week it's the second leg. So we might not actually know our opponents till next Thursday.
But we're up, I believe. This is our part of the draw.
Okay. Right, let's turn to the draw then. Here we go. Just touching some balls.
Just because I've been to Malta a few times. That's the only one I can... That's the only one I know.
I've only been to Malta once, and I didn't even know there was professional football over there.
the pitches are shocking.
What ball number are we? Do you know? Do we have a ball number?
I don't think we do. I think they just say match 1, match 2, match 3. And then
What's going on, Tom?
I don't know what ball number 3 means. So ball's 3 against ball's 10. So, okay, we're against Viborg or B36 Torshavn.
Okay, there you go. That's who we got. West Ham United against Viborg or Horshaven.
Horseshaven, yes. That's the one. B36 Horseshaven. I'm so sorry. So that's
Faroe Islands.
Denmark or the Faroe. So I imagine it will be Viborg then, because I don't exactly think that the Faroe Islands.
You would think so. That was interesting. 3v10. All right. It's West Ham. Oh, okay. Sorry. Turned out we were number 3. So there you go. West Ham will be playing the last bit on the screen. I'll just come on the Tom's torso just a second there. Viborg, the Danish side, against Torshavn from the Faroe Islands. That's interesting. They've got. I'd imagine their stand's going to be next to nothing. I think I seen something earlier. I could be wrong. I think the Faroe Islands, their away game. I think the allocation for West Ham fans will be roughly 250.
This is unfortunately this is just going to be the competition, because if we do get through it and we get put in a group stage, it will be very much, there will be at least 1 or 2 teams that are like that. I can't pretend like I know who they are, but at least with Viborg, I've at least heard of them, but know nothing about
and how to get there.
How to get to the Faroe Islands?
Yeah, just having a look. The football stadium in Torshavn is the capital of the Faroe Islands, which holds 5,000 people.
The country or the stadium?
The stadium. Stadium's got 5,000. Stadium's got a capacity of 5,000. We're at home first, Andy. The first team out is at home first. So I believe we're at home first, which is the 18th of August. And we should play away.
I'd rather have Rice banned for the home leg, I think.
Rice is banned from both.
Is he banned from both?
Yeah, Declan's got a 2-game ban. He's banned from both legs. So Declan Rice is out the playoffs altogether. So that's why. Okay, he's out of the.
I thought it was just
Carl Carl are saying he's from the Faroe Islands.
I'm so sorry, Carl.
He says Torshavn are not very good. They're the 4th best team in the Faroes. How many teams is there though? Is there 4? How many teams are in the Faroe Islands?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I've drunk a B36 before. Was it flaming B52s? I'm sorry, Carl. I don't mean to.
At the end of the day, I would prefer to play the home game second. I always would, because then it's a bit like Sevilla. Would we have beaten Sevilla if the legs were reversed? I mean, in theory, you'd say yes, because of Lyon. We went to Lyon and won the second leg and got through. But I always prefer to play at home, because you know the conclusion of the tie then, don't you? So it's only half time technically after the first game. But yeah, so 18th of August, London Stadium, West Ham United will take on Viborg or Horseshaven.
It's not even H, it's T, it's Torshavn, but Horseshaven that's better.
Right, so there you go. Viborg's stadium capacity is just under 10,000, and West Ham are entitled, I believe, to 5% allocation. So there you go. But 200 people.
500 people.
500 people. It's not much, is it?
No. But I don't think it matters really, because wherever across Europe we'll go, if we do get through to the group stages, I'm sure that it will be allocated every single time. But I don't think you'll catch me going to the Faroe Islands if.
Daniel, what I will say, he's obviously saying that they finished 7th in the Danish league, just top 7 getting to Europe over there. Not necessarily, but this is what the Conference League's created for. So England only have 1 club, but it's for countries of lesser coefficients get more clubs in. So Norway will either have 2, possibly even 3 teams in this tournament. I imagine they've got 2 teams in the tournament, but it's possible they've actually got 3. Some countries have 3 teams playing in the Europa Conference League, because that's why they've made it essentially so that those countries can get their clubs in and they actually have a chance to win games rather than turn up in Champions League and get spanked week in, week out, and then
the Maltese team had the Malta had like 4 teams. I was looking at the knockouts, and even this round here, they've got 2 left in this round, and they've still got 2 that were knocked out in the previous round. So I don't think it necessarily matters so much, like you said, as long as they're not getting slapped up by the Champions League teams every single week. I think that's all they care about.
Alex says Viborg finished 7th. They won a playoff against a team and finished 5th. It's a weird structure, but they're playing some decent football and they just beat Copenhagen. Oh, I'm starting to get nervous now. I don't like this.
Thanks, Alex. I'd rather want the horse shaven.
Tom, you can take this one from Tanfiz. If you can make 2 signings confirmed, who would you pick between Kostic, Cornet, Zielinski, Onana, and Milenkovic?
Bloody hell, I thought we were finished with that. Milenkovic's name. I'd say Kostic and Cornet. I just don't think Zielinski can play
both of them
very similar positions. Say again?
Both of them, Kostic and Cornet. You take both.
Yeah, because if you were going to play Kostic as a left sort of winger or left-sided midfielder, and then Cornet if he was going to play as a left back, I just don't see the need for the other guys. For me, already Onana, unless he was for the future, after Rice goes, we've got 3 or 4 people that can play in that position anyway. And I'd still rather Connor Coventry being around the first team. Milenkovic, no, because stupid wages, plus you've got Aguirre coming back and the rest of them. Zielinski can play in the exact same position as Fornals, Benrahma to an extent, Vlasic, those kind of players. So for me, I think the massive issue has always been that left-hand side. So it would, for me, I think that would be where the upgrade would be, because again, Zielinski may start, but we all know that Moyes loves Fornals, so he would probably play through the middle. Onana wouldn't start. Milenkovic would just be in and out with game time anyway. And for me, the biggest upgrades would be down the left-hand side. So I'd say Kostic and Cornet. Fair
enough. I think you made a strong case for that, to be honest with you. I don't know about Kostic and Cornet. I think I'm happy with either of them. I think Kostic is better, but because Cornet is younger, I'm sort of okay with that as well. And I think Cornet is probably a little bit more versatile because he has actually played left back in his career, whereas Kostic hasn't. There's little evidence to suggest Kostic can play left back, and I don't like it. I've got no faith in him playing left back, whereas Cornet I do. Defensively, is he sound? Not too sure, but at least he's got experience of the role, which is probably first and foremost.
He played anyway. I was going to say he played there for Lyon, didn't he? That was sort of his bread and butter position before he came over here. He played
there when they beat Man City in the Champions League. He was the left back, and Marcel was sort of next to him, but that went to Wolves. So he's got loads of experience there, like you said, playing in the Champions League as well. So I'm just wondering if he's sort of okay playing left back to some extent, or if he sees himself as an attacker. It's a bit like Masuaku, remember when we first bought him, then not long after he arrived, he said, "Oh, I'm not a left back, so that's not the best position." We bought you for left back though. So anyway,
I think the only thing that worries me with Cornet is that he had quite a good goal scoring year last year, and potentially would want to be played a bit further forward than be played at left back. So I think he showed what he could do with his output last year as playing a little bit further forward. So then to say no, go into a left back spot, I think he wouldn't necessarily want it as much. I don't think.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see Cornet plus a left back, though, like an actual traditional, conventional left back that is better than Creswell and will then hold that position down and make it their own. There's going to be a big left back roundabout in the next few days, though, isn't there? Because obviously Cucurella looks like he's off to Stamford Bridge, which means Man City's got the ump because they now don't have a left back. They're going to have to go get someone. That means that Brighton have got 50 million in their back pocket requiring a left back. So they're going to be in the same market as we are, but they've got 50 million there to spend to bring somebody in.
They got more than that. They sold Basuma, didn't they, as well? So they got more than enough to get a good left back in.
So we'll have to wait and see what they do, unless Graham Potter decides he's just going to use Solly March. So he loves Solly March, though, didn't he?
No.
What would you take? Just curveball on it. I'm not saying I want them. I'm just genuinely interested if you would want them. Obviously, if Chelsea do sign Cucurella, probably to play as left centre back and provide competition and cover at left wing back. would you be interested in either Marcus Alonso or Emerson from Chelsea?
Marcus Alonso, no, because he's a murderer. Emerson, yes. I think when we played them to be honest with you, both their fullbacks when we played Leon, I know we beat them a lot, but I was seriously impressed with that. Gusto, I think he was called. He caused all sorts of havoc down the right-hand side. But Emerson was good. I thought he was probably two of their best positions. But yeah, I'm not so keen on Alonso, just simply for the fact that he's a murderer. And he's old. So he's an old murderer. There you go.
Excellent. Thanks for that fantastic insight. Anyway, Tom, I shan't keep you too much longer, but there's your Europa League conference draw. West Ham United will play either Viborg or Torshavn in the playoffs round on the 18th of August at London Stadium, and then 25th of August at probably Norway. We'll probably be playing Viborg over in Norway. But Tom, thank you very much for joining me.
Anytime.
If you've enjoyed this video at home, drop a like on, subscribe to Hammers Chat, and I'll catch you in a bit.